What's up?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the MMAHOLIcs. Really appreciate y'all for joining us today. Um, First and foremost, just want to give an explanation for the absence. Like we had a really like personal August. I had to move to a new place, as y'all can see. I'm still trying to get settled right now, and that was really hard. I had to really do a lot of stuff. Of course, like some of y'all probably know if y'all ever moved before and stuff like that. I really tried to get comfortable and stuff. I didn't have access to no Wi-Fi where I was at or anything, so I didn't. I wasn't able to live stream or nothing like that. I'm a journalist, so I could barely even write where I was at. So that lets you know I couldn't even like do my streams with my boy if I wanted to. You feel me? But today, we're definitely back for sure, for sure. Definitely gonna be a little bit more consistent this year as we got like our scheduling down better and stuff like that. Now that we got like, new jobs and stuff like that. And yeah, today we were just gonna go through these three cards: UFC 306, 307, and 308. Just gonna go through, see what fights we like the most, the biggest storylines of the cards, and that's really it. But how you feeling today, Nikki? You straight?
I'm chilling, man. Get ready to talk some UFC. Love doing this. Talk about what we got planned for the rest of the year. Not all the cards are booked yet. We still got 309 and 310, but
Mm-hmm.
we definitely got 306, 7, and 8. So we got a little bit to talk about. Especially with the 308. Like I can't wait to move on to Abu Dhabi card. I'm
Right.
super excited for that. But yeah, we're gonna start with 306 and move our way on.
Mm-hmm. Nah, hell yeah, bro. And like for me, even like the 306 card, as we're about to pull it up, it's like it really is crazy to think about like how they're gonna even use the Las Vegas Sphere in a
Mhm.
sporting event. I went to the Las Vegas Sphere when I went to UFC 300 back in April, and like just being there, it was people like from all around the world and stuff. I did a little live stream on our channel while I was out there, where like some of the viewers got to see like the robots they have that actually like talk back to you and like really get to know you actually where you're from, and stuff like that, and like just seeing everything inside of the sphere. It was like, okay, I just started thinking about 306, like how like are they possibly gonna like use like the big like monitor and stuff like that during a fight. For those who haven't been there, like it's really like when you walk in, it's like kind of like
It's like a theater.
like a theater. I was just about to say that, like
Mhm.
literally, it's just like it's not like a full bowl or anything like that. It's just like the sets, and you're viewing something with the people that are like above you and behind you, and like I can already imagine they're probably just gonna have it like that, but the octagon is just gonna be down there for everyone to watch and stuff like that. And normally, like at UFC events, they play the videos on like the jumbotron for those that can't see it. So if they're gonna like project the fight onto the whole thing like that's
It's gonna
gonna
be
be like
crazy.
sick, bro. It's gonna be
Yeah.
like absolutely insane.
The
Um,
walkouts are gonna be right before the fights. Like I imagine being there is gonna be crazy because you get the little storyline right before the fights on that big screen, pitch black in there, and
mhm.
then like lights cut out and the music turns on, and you regularly got the spotlights, but those people usually don't look at the jumbotron. They're looking for the fighter walking out. Now
Right.
you're gonna be seeing like that big ass screen. Like that's gonna be insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like being there is probably gonna be awesome, but it's not even like I know it's coming up really soon, and it's not sold. It's not even close to sold out.
hmm
$3,000 for tickets is insane, but like
Crazy.
it is a way smaller crowd.
hmm
But yeah, it's insane that it's not selling out. I wonder if they're gonna drop the ticket prices just to sell it out.
I think they will come like near, like closer to the fight date, probably around like the 9th or like the 10th, something like that. I think it's more so about like the fans that are getting it for that much price are like like that's like the exclusivity of it, like like the prestige of it. You
Yeah.
really want to be able to know like I can spend money on that. It ain't shit. You feel me? Like when you're spending 3 bands on a ticket, especially like for a one night experience. It's not like it's a cruise or anything like that, like that lasts multiple days. Of course, you can go to the fight week and stuff like that, but the night of the fights is when it's all gonna like like that's the big coup de grace. So And even then, I was about to say it's only a 10-fight bout order. So we can actually go ahead and pull up the topology as we're about to get to the fights now. And yeah, like just like the fact that it's 10 fights lets you know how crazy this card is going to be. Normally, we all know that pay-per-views are about like 15 fights. Of course, like, you know, the ones lately have had like 12 fights or 13 fights, stuff like that, because of injuries and stuff. We saw what happened at UFC 303 with all like the infamous matchups. You know, Danny Ige took a fight on like 4 hours notice and stuff like that. But with this card, like it's some fighters who, like, you know, you definitely got to be more of a hardcore to know who they are. You know, like a Rolando Rodriguez and, like, you know, Daniel Zellhuber, Esteban Ribovics, you know, fighters of that nature. We saw Esteban Ribovics knock out Terrence McKinney with a head kick the last time he was out there. So that was pretty crazy to see. He's coming off a tear, and he's going to fight a striker like Zellhuber. But going ahead and get to the card, though, my favorite fight, obviously, on the entire card is probably going to be the main event. Just really more so based on like the storyline, too. You know that Sean O'Malley knocked out Aljamain Sterling, former bantamweight champion, and like obviously, like, you know, Merab and Aljamain are like super duper close, you know. So the fact that he's going to try to get, you know, revenge for his friend like that, he saw that happen right in front of him that night in Boston. Like, he was literally in his corner, saw him get knocked out and the belt get wrapped around him. And now, like, you know, that sprouted a new rivalry that night, you feel me? And we saw back at UFC 288 when Merab has stole Sean O'Malley's jacket and, you know, he put it on, started wearing it around the cage and stuff like that. So it is cool that this is finally going to come to a head. Obviously, neither fighter are from Mexico, you feel me? The Mexicans love Merab Dvalishvili, though, so they definitely he'll probably get one of the biggest pops of the night, and a card full of Mexicans on Mexican Independence Day. So that lets you know how big of a fan base he has gained in his last recent fights, especially with his style. One of the few fighters you can see really go to decision after decision, and people just love his style, love his personality. He's always aggressive. You know, he shot for 50 takedowns against Petr Yan. We've never seen that before. And yeah, man, you know, Sean's going to have to really deal with this grappling and this wrestling. And I think it's just a really compelling matchup overall. But how do you feel about the main event of the Ultimate Fighting Championship 306?
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. Like, we know this is like super overdue for Merab, this title shot. He would have been fought for a title shot probably around the Yan fight or something if it wasn't for Aljo being the current champ. But that delayed his title shot for a while. He was waiting for Aljo to move up. He wasn't expecting to get knocked out, but now he got knocked out or technically knocked out by O'Malley. So now he's got to clean that mess up. It's going to be the toughest test for both of them, right? Because it's the typical striking versus wrestling grappling that we always go through. Like, Sean is the best striker that Merab's ever fought, and Merab's going to be the best wrestler Sean has ever fought. It screams banger all over it. It could go many different ways. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching Sean's podcast. It was either a podcast or interview. I think it was his podcast, though. But he was talking about, you know, they're just talking about Conor and all this and how their relationship is. And he was saying, like, that Aljo fight, that was his Aldo fight. Like, he knocked him out, won that belt. And now he said, like, this is my toughest matchup. If he beats Merab in this takes him to the next level. This fight can make him one of the greatest of all time. And people might think that's, you know, early to call it, but he is super young, you know what I mean? He's building his resume up. He beats Merab. He has the option to fight Umar. He has the option to fight Ilya. You know, he gets to do what he wants after this one. This makes him the superstar. Or is, you know, but if Merab wins this one, it gets, you know, super interesting because he could hold that belt for a very long time if he wins it. We haven't seen anyone make him look human. I mean, he ran through Henry Cejudo, ran through Petr Yan, and if he runs through Sean, it's like, gets scary. Who's gonna beat him? Umar? Like, I don't know. So this one's interesting. My fight that I'm looking forward to in this one, overdue, Ortega versus Lopez. I love him. I thought he was going to be moving up to lightweight. There was a lot of talk about that. I guess maybe that's next. Maybe they just wanted to get this one out the way. I feel like this is more of a stepping stone for Diego Lopez than it is Ortega chasing a title shot. Just because of how many people in featherweight are in line for a title shot. Like right now we have Max is fighting for it. Volk is practically promised his title shot. Aljamain getting an impressive win puts him in there's a lot of people. I don't think Diego, with this win, gets him a title shot. So I think this is more of a stepping stone for Diego than it is like a title contention shot for Ortega. I think Ortega's still going to move up after this one, but this screams banger all over. Like, we're waiting for this one. They're going to be rolling. Hopefully no first round knockout. I'll be pretty upset if Diego knocked him out in the first round. How do you feel about it?
Nah, man, I think it's going to be a pretty crazy fight. Before I get to my take, though, got to give a shout out to Gonzalo Toro in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us, bruh. You know, really big supporter of the channel. He's actually our 100th subscriber. When I did the UFC 302 stream, I said I'd never forget that, and I haven't. Thank you so much for joining, man. Always love having you in the chat. Please feel free to give your take on any of the fights. And, like, yeah, man, for me, I think it's a pretty crazy fight, obviously. I am excited to see, like, Brian really bounce back and really show people that he's still relevant inside the division. You know, I really think that, like, a lot of people play, trying to call him a pullout merchant and stuff like that. Like, we can't act like he wasn't injured, like Ortega does show up. Like, Brian, like, I think he might have missed weight, like, one time before in his career. And obviously, like, they call these dudes on, like, 1 week's notice to do this fight. You feel me? He was on the embeddeds. He was training outside with his family. Like, he was about to hop on the plane. I mean, he was there. Like, I'm pretty sure he did the press conference and all that. So
yeah, he looked horrible though. Like, really bad. It was
of course. Like, Ortega, like, it's different when you go from your walk around weight to having to, like, get in fight shape just like that. Like, that's not natural for the human body. Especially, it's bad when you see, like, their cheeks are sunken in like that. Like, it's really bad when they're draining themselves of all that water.
Got those bright lights on you on stage. Like, come on.
Exactly. Especially, like, because when you sign up for a fight and you have 10 weeks to prepare for it, you can mentally prepare for it as well. That's a whole experience when you're about to be around all those fans, all that media, all that stuff. And now, like, you just hop up out the bed and just, like, start a fight week. Like, that's really hard to do, man. So I really think, like, it was already pretty hard for Brian Ortega. I don't think he'd ever duck anyone, knowing his personality. He has taken beatings inside the cage and still, like, fought back, didn't, like, fold to the pressure or anything like that. And, like, for me, I didn't almost give a prediction. This fight is pretty crazy, like my boy Nicky said. And then also the biggest thing for me, like, like how I was saying, is the storyline. Obviously, Diego's a massive up-and-comer right now. We saw him come in like a meteor with his debut with Movsar Evloev and, like, hit, like, 6 different submissions and almost literally got the choke done. And outside of that, he's been on a tear, finishing Steve Yusuf the way he did in the first round of UFC 300. And obviously, he kind of had some trouble with Danny Gay in that third round. But I think, when you take an opponent on the fly like that, and I'm pretty sure he thought he could go in there and maybe finish Danny Gay, like, in the first round, thinking Ige might not have been prepared and stuff like that. But and I think that might have costed his, like, him getting tired in the third round and stuff like that. So I think now that they have real training camps and in, like, in a massive card like this, it is gonna be very interesting. Obviously, both these guys have ties to Mexico. Diego Lopez is actually the training partner or the coach of, like, the champion in the co-main event, Alexa Grasso. So, it's pretty cool to see Ortega really continue to take the fight. He doesn't have to give this opportunity. Ortega's been at the top of the division for a very long time, been a staple since like 2016. Of the featherweight division. So I think Dana still likes Brian Ortega. We know how many commercials he's been in for the UFC. So I think they really like him a lot, But of course, he has to prove himself like every other, veteran inside the UFC. And this is a really crazy fight, man. We're gonna see how it goes. I do want to see it hit the ground. I'm really intrigued about that.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see the
Mhm.
most. I really, 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 really want to see it hit the ground.
That's why I said I don't want it to be just like a first round knockout for Diego. Like I want to see them roll. I want to see both of them push because, like on paper, like it's very even their jujitsu. But like Ortega's been around longer. Diego's younger. Like, well, what matters? It's not like Ortega's like 40 years old, but it's also not like Diego's 19. It's going to be a very good matchup. They're both in really good shape,
right,
really good condition if they come, prepared. Brian looked really good against Yair in that fight. Choked
right.
him out
Finish
there.
Jair.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this can be a great fight. I just hope it doesn't. It's just not a knockout because it is very possible Diego just torches him again.
Because
Yeah,
for
I
me,
want to see that jujitsu, but I want to see them rolling, dude. That's what I want to see. What people call a boring fight. I want to see them clinched up against the cage, and.
right. And honestly, like, Gonzalo's probably putting some good points to what you're saying, I do think that he does have some good points saying that Diego's that young up and coming right now, extremely hungry. We know that Ortega has fought for the title not once, but twice, you feel me? And I think Dana would love to give Brian Ortega a third title shot, especially with the whole Mexican and Spain like type of thing going on. I think he would love to give Ortega a third title shot with a new champion at the top. Of course, that'd probably be Ortega's last chance to become undisputed featherweight champion after his attempts at 266 and 231 in Toronto. So, it'd be cool, man, to see him, get this win. It'd be cool to see Lopez get this win. For me, it's like, I think it's gonna be like last thing I will say about not giving no spoilers. I think it's gonna be kind of a hard fight, for Diego. Like I don't think Ortega's easy to finish by any means. I think he's still extremely durable. With his chin, has a really, really, really good chin. Brian does. We saw him get just a kick to the body and like all that by Yair. I'm pretty sure he almost folded. He showed he was hurt to the body when he got kicked by Yair. It's like all that ground and pound, and like he came back, and like we even saw it in the introductions. He rolled his ankle or something like that. He hurt himself. He hurt himself, and because he kept trying to shake it out, he knew he hurt himself, and he went, and that shows you that this isn't like a fan type of that's his real life man toughness, to go in there and like mentally withstand that and then get beat up by this dude and then take him down and choke him out. Like that's really, especially in elevation at that in Mexico City. So I think Ortega, and that was his last performance. So I do think that he's still here. It's just I think a lot of people don't really know Ortega like that. He doesn't really do much media like that. He doesn't really put himself out. Of course, like the UFC puts himself out, like put him out there. But Brian really he likes to chill, just be a father, and this train, which I definitely respect. And of course, but like it's gonna be a crazy fight. And yeah, like I'll end right here with Toro's good points as well. He's saying like I do think that Lopez might have. I mean, not might. He'll probably have the better stand up with the kicks and stuff like that. Good leg kicks. Good. Like he's really good. Like the way he'll throw his 1-2, I think it's really fast. He has really good uppercuts as well. Like when he finished Sadiq Yusuf, like how he did. And like for Ortega, we know Ortega does have good boxing as well, and arguably the best jiu-jitsu player inside the featherweight division. We're gonna find out in this fight. Can't stay too long on it. Obviously, it's a crazy fight. That's why we just got so pumped up for it. But either way, even just looking at the rest of the card, I'm gonna show the prelims some love and all that. Like I said, Esteban Ribovics versus Daniel Zober is a really crazy fight. Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont is on the prelim, so that lets you know that it's really gonna be like a hell of a Mexican night. We also cannot forget that for you boxing fans out there as well, of course we cover boxing too. Canelo is also fighting across the street at the MGM, literally around the same time that night. So it's gonna be pretty crazy for Vegas around that time of year. In September, the fight I do want to see the most, probably on the prelims for me, is Manuel Torres versus
Ignacio.
Yeah, like that's gonna be like absolutely like like bonkers. That's like violence right there.
Ignacio has some crazy kicks, dude.
And like,
from.
And it's different, like when you know a fight is gonna play out like that. It's kind of like a BMF fight. Like those two dudes are matched up to go to war like that, and it's at least gonna be entertaining. I don't know if that's gonna make it out the first round, man. Want to give a shout out to my friend Lane, really good friend of the show. Thank you so much for sliding through. Always love talking to you. Thank you so much, Lane. Always love talking to you. Most definitely. Please feel free to give your comments on the fights as well. We're in the middle of 306. And Lane feels the exact same way about the boy with skinny about what Nikki just said. Yeah, man. Ignacio, like I do, I'm still really high on him. Especially coming off that Roosevelt Roberts KO with the spinning heel kick. I know he lost to John McDessie, but I think he was just, he thought he was a young guy that fought a good veteran that could keep his timing on him. And I think he was bound to take a UFC loss eventually. And I think that loss kind of changed him in his approach in the fights. Obviously we saw the Trey Ogden fight too, but I think, that was him like still just trying to, maintain striking distance and just, have a good game plan. And yeah, man, like I said, Manuel Torres and like Ignacio Bahamondes. And obviously the biggest pop of the night might be Raul Rosas Jr., obviously, versus Aureki Long. Raul Rosas Jr. fought in Louisville, Kentucky, and I went to that card on my birthday on June 8th. And there was some I had never seen. I had never thought so many Mexicans could be in Kentucky. Like that shit was insane. To see like all those people really travel to see him like that. I think he might have been like the only Mexican on the card for that Cannonier versus Imavov card. And like the flags were just everywhere. So I do think they know that he can have a massive cult fan base by the time he's like 22, 23. Like if he just continues to develop, like, because him facing this UFC competition at an early age is only going to benefit him. It's like when NBA prospects that play in the Euro League, like how you all, I'm pretty sure casual basketball fans know of one Luka Doncic, you feel me, for the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic played against grown men in Europe, and then he came over to the NBA, and obviously, he saw what happened, you feel me? So I say with Raul, him facing all this older competition this young, I think by the time he's 25, like nowhere near 30 at that point, he's going to be an absolute monster as long as if he has the hands, because he's already a good wrestler. So he'll just get naturally stronger, get bigger, and he would have fought so much good competition already. But
is he out of high school? Or is he still in high school right now?
I think he graduated. He's 18 now. I think he's 18, might be 19 at the moment.
He probably has so much free time. It's not like he would graduate high school and it's like, okay, got to go to college or something, got to get a job. I mean, that dude's real prospect in the UFC, so he probably has all the time, and all the desire in the world to just get good.
Just fight, bro. Just get better.
I think he might look like 3 times as good this fight. If that's, he doesn't have any homework and that's a real thing. He definitely had homework to do. I'm not thinking he's like a college basketball player who doesn't do their work and just goes to the game. No, he definitely had to graduate high school and go to class the next day after those fights. But now he has all the free time in the world, all the money that he never thought he would have had, and now he's just in the gym probably every day training. And this card is representing what he represents. So I think he's going to look amazing. He's the first fight of the night, apparently. I didn't even know that. So I think he'll come out and get a finish. I don't see why he wouldn't,
I think he will. Honestly, want to give a shout out
to him in the chat.
Hell yeah, most definitely. Just popped in. Thank you so much for joining, bro. We were watching your live stream just a few minutes ago. Y'all go subscribe to the boy Pick Him MMA. He just hit 25. I think he's close to 2,500 subscribers. So the boy's growing every day. Always love watching your stuff, man. And he always shows love too. Really humble dude. That's definitely a friend of ours, most definitely. Also want to give a shout out to my boy Anakin in the chat. Most definitely. You already know what's up, Anakin. I love you, bro. Most definitely.
You got the Gaio profile picture. That's fine. He didn't have that before. He changed his profile picture.
Now I feel him, man. He's on fire. He's on fire. So I
got the fighting nerds. We gotta have a whole podcast just about the fighting nerds, because I heard they're the new shoot box in the UFC.
I think
they're the new fan favorite.
Honestly, Gotta give a shout out also to my boy Vulcan. Thank you so much for joining, Vulcan. Also talking to you in the chat as well, bro. Great guy as well. Has good picks on the bets too. I be in the live streams with you, bro, and I see your parlays and stuff. So like, you definitely make good picks yourself too, bro. And again, thank y'all so much for joining us, bro. Anakin, Pickham, Gonzalo, Lane. I really appreciate y'all having us tonight for sure. Thanks so much for joining us. And yeah, man, like to finish it off with Raul. I just think with him and his development, the UFC, like Dana is just sitting there, just rubbing his hands together. Like, you just knowing he's on the roster, they can go to Mexico like all the time, like for real, like, and like it's honestly really crazy. Gotta give a shout out to my boy Pickham as well, giving us some advice right here. Yeah, we addressed that when we first went live today. We were just like, yeah, bro, we finally got a good, like, our scheduling down for this year. We know it's about to be September now, so like this year, 24, 25, we definitely, and like, we're gonna be better with our scheduling. As last year was just, we had a lot of stuff going on with these jobs that we used to have. So now we'll have more free time and be able to go live like how we want to. We plan on doing a show on Wednesday as well to talk about some more topics, like John Jones versus Aspinall, how some people think he's ducking Aspinall. And I definitely cannot wait to get my piece on that. If you guys want to join, I would love to argue. But yeah, most definitely Pickham. Thank you so much for joining again, bro. And we're definitely going to do that 100%. And yeah, man, like, again, last thing I will say about Raul is that, yeah, bro. So for me, I think by the age of 20, I mean, it's going to be crazy seeing it happen like that. He's going to be 21. He's going to be 22. You feel me? Like, just like
it's being around for a long time, probably.
For real. And like, it's not going to hit us like, Missy has like, by the time he hits 30, I hope he doesn't have a lot of wars, bro. I really hope he doesn't have a lot of wars. And my boy Pickham in the chat with like some fire coming out of his mouth, bro. Ooh, I was sending some shots right now, but hey, can't deny that though. You feel me? Everyone heard that 911 call, of course, damn, I kind of don't really know what to say to that, but
listen, that Wednesday stream, we'll talk about everybody who's not booked for a fight. Everybody. We'll talk about Islam, we'll talk about Pantoja, we'll talk about everyone that's not booked on Wednesday.
Most definitely. And the winners and the losers of the most recent pay-per-views, like, Israel Adesanya, where does he go? Like, we got Whitaker and Chimaev fighting. We're actually gonna get to that later. So we can speed this up. So but yeah,
last thing though, speaking of Whitaker, I was just gonna say Raul's probably gonna be like a Whitaker in the UFC, coming in at a young age and retiring probably in his mid-30s, just like Rob plans. I think it's gonna play out similar. And if he gets that belt too, I mean, that's exactly how I see the career going,
Absolutely. I think, man, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know a lot of people want to hate on him because he's young and stuff like that. And like, obviously, I think he might have a cleft palate when he was born. That's why like his upper lip looks, the way it does. He just got, probably got it fixed with surgery as a baby or something of that nature. Because obviously you see his brother, his brother who's like a trainer for him as well. But my point by saying that is like, I'm not gonna act like I don't think he'll be a champion in the future. I think he'll get it young too. Because they're gonna do whatever when they think he's ready, they're gonna push him like that. They're gonna give him to the number 5 guy, number 4 guy, whoever they think because man, I'm surprised he's not gonna open the pay-per-view. To be quite honest with you,
he definitely could. He could even be the featured bout and you move Ortega up. I'm surprised but I'm seeing the UFC starting more and more to open like events with a really good fight. They're starting to do that more and more now. And it started probably with 300 with Figgy and Cody. I think that was, and now they're doing it a little more often where they're starting these cards with way better fights instead of trying to throw a snoozer at you right away,
Right. Yeah, like, and that's what I think, man. But yeah, this was 306. We definitely can't wait for this to happen. It's honestly not too far from now. We're only like 3 weeks away from it or something like that. But we're gonna go ahead and move to the new Salt Lake City card. Man, they go to Utah a lot. Like, they just were.
That's yearly now.
Like, honestly, yeah. Like,
we had last time Gaethje. We had the BMF fight
291. Yeah.
We had last 2 years. It's been Usman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last 2 years straight.
And it was crazy because like both main events and it ended by way of head kick and like that. Like, that was just like crazy. Even the guys in like the broadcast truck played the head kick side by side. Even they knew that was like crazy, right? But yeah, man, obviously we're gonna go ahead and address the elephant in the room. It's crazy to see Khalil Roundtree get a title shot. Obviously we know he had a positive test. He addressed it. I forgot which. I think he might have did it on the Jackson podcast with Rampage Jackson, Quentin Rampage Jackson. You guys should go watch that podcast. I actually like it a lot. It's cool to see him move into the media space and start to interview fighters the way that he has. He's actually pretty good at it, to be real. And
he's everyone, dude. Oh my god, he gets everyone on there.
Exactly, because he has so much respect. It's Rampage, and I do think one day, I don't know why they haven't already, but I think the UFC will put Rampage in the Hall of Fame one day. He did win the belt and he defended it, so that obviously makes him a future Hall of Famer in the UFC. Just to win so many dudes. There's dudes in the Hall of Fame that didn't even win the title, and he's literally in the record books forever as an undisputed champion. No drug test, no none of that. And yeah, shout out to Rampage Jackson. But yeah, I only mentioned him because Khalil Roundtree was on there. I think that's where he did it at. Where he just addressed, he gave an explanation that he accidentally ingested something bad, and then he went, he caught them. He called Drug Free Sport International before the test even came out and let them know, hey guys, if you see something, just know this is what it is. I'm not taking PEDs, and I get it,
He handled it perfectly. When I saw the Instagram post, it's like damn, it sucks. The fight's off, but he handled it perfectly.
I agree, and and I think just knowing, always watching Khalil's interviews, you could tell he'll really think before he speaks live in front of you. He'll really wait, and it's really cerebral character, really interesting as well. But yeah, man, obviously we know how this fight is going to go in terms of the hardcore fans, stuff like that. Some people don't really like it. I think it's pretty interesting. Just like the boy Anakin just said literally in the chat just now, do not count out Khalil Roundtree. I do think that this fight will be really somewhat competitive. I think the first round is going to be really explosive, and I think he'll have a good game plan, man. Now you saw him in that interview in the Octagon where he said I'm not gonna shoot a takedown. It's so funny. When everyone's about to fight Pereira, just no one wants to wrestle no more. Everyone wants to
I mean, no one's really had success with it, dude. No one. Jan Blachowicz. If you want to give Jan the credit, they were in Salt Lake. They were both tired. And then if you want to give Yuri credit, Yuri couldn't hold him down.
I was gonna say, Israel took him down.
Israel and held him down
at 281. Yes, he did. And he did it with a judo throw too, because Alex tried to take him down, but he reversed it, and that was just man, that was a hell of a fight, man. We might never get to see that rivalry ever again. So both Adesanya versus Pereira were just crazy, raw.
And everyone gives all the we'll talk about Ankalaev and him not getting it. Everyone thinks he's going to be the one to do it. Just because he's from Dagestan doesn't mean he's a wrestler. He's a kickboxer. If you watch his Jan Blachowicz fight, that was the most sad wrestling I've ever seen. They were belly to belly, and he was just holding him down for 2 rounds straight. And he was mad he didn't win the title off of that after losing 3 rounds, while Jan was chopping his legs off. If anyone's going to talk about he's going to be the one to hold down Pereira, Glover Teixeira has 10 times the grappling that Ankalaev has showed in the UFC, and they train together every single day. So people thinking he's Pereira is exposable, no one's doing it. I don't agree. Alex is getting better and better. He almost had a guillotine choke, and we'll fight. It was the Yuri fight. I think it was the Yuri fight. He almost had a guillotine choke. He's getting better and better. If someone was gonna, wrestle him and beat him, it would have happened. It should have happened already. It's not gonna happen at this point. No one in light heavyweight really has that kind of wrestling in them.
I'm sorry about that.
No, go. You're good.
I was going to say, we also can't forget about, as a Hall of Fame coach, man, Glover Teixeira is, really, really smart. He's going to prepare him, for absolutely everything. And I think with his confidence in the striking, he knows that these guys can only beat me if they take me down. So if they can't do that, it's literally only a matter of time before they get, Mike Tyson, and I think that's one thing I wanted to get to too. I think that the UFC, because they lost Francis Ngannou, you feel me? So they really want that Mike Tyson figure, that like that type of killer. Like everyone tunes in just to see how is he gonna finish this guy next. You know, and like Ngannou was supposed to have a way longer title reign than he did, unfortunately. You know, and like he would have like. It would have been crazy to see Francis like not like if they would have had Ngannou versus Jones. Like we can also talk about that on Wednesday too, because we're gonna talk about Jones versus Aspinall. And a lot of people like there's a narrative out there that John be ducking people, and like I just can't like no more. I can't. I just can't, man. And like and like for real, but with the Roundtree and Pereira, I think that they want an exciting fight, man. They probably think Ankalaev will try to most definitely take him down. Obviously, he will, but I don't think it'll be in the manner that they think. I don't think he'll just like shoot in the first 5 seconds. I think knowing Magomed's personality, he'll go out there.
He's gonna want to stand in kickbox.
I mean, like literally try to prove a point and like go out there with that dude and try to like knock him out. You feel me? And like how he knocked out Johnny Walker, and like that's what I think he wants to do, man. Like these dudes taking that shit personal. Like we saw Kyle Bahayo like risk his life on Saturday night. You feel me? Fighting Jared Cannonier. His eye was actually like that, and like all that adrenaline, all that's like to keep you pushing through that pain. And yeah, man, like these guys don't like it when they're considered boring, and it's unfortunate, man, because the fans like that's just what they want to see, and I get it. Even Dana wants to see that. Even Dana doesn't like it when the dudes just wrestle. And like the only person who he never once pulled to the side and had that conversation was one Eagle Khabib Nurmagomedov, bro.
Yeah, he was throwing ground and pound any second he could. I feel like that's the big thing. He was throwing ground and pound every second he had a chance to. Anytime he could posture up, he was throwing ground and pound. And that's what a lot of these dudes do. They do hold on. Like Islam and Volk. Islam was holding him, waiting for that round to end, because sometimes you get compromised and there's a minute left and you already have the round in the bag. Let's just make sure no extra damage is done. Good, but Khabib just had that killer. He was just gonna unleash on you anytime he could posture up.
And like that's the thing. And I only say that, I only mention him because obviously like Dana he wants all like. I always tell people because like I be saying like the full thing for UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. I always say like you gotta realize like when they say ultimate, they don't want like every pay-per-view to be so electric, like it's not even funny, So especially if you're there in person. So like, I think Ankalaev could give him that fight. And I think, man, if it's gonna be a real sport, it has to be meritocracy, bro. Like this man, he has on like a 9-fight win streak. He's on a longer win streak than Roundtree. You feel me? It's just if you go by Roundtree, I can already see it now. And they have the countdown. If you can go to Roundtree right quick, please.
Yeah.
I can already see the countdown now, bro. Like they're gonna be showing like the finish over Anthony Smith, Modestas Bukauskas. Like they're just gonna show like and like a 5-5 win streak contender.
A lot of people are not impressed. A lot of people give him a lot of shit for his Anthony Smith, for how long it took or whatever. People weren't too impressed with those fights.
And like that, and like for me, it's because like they just don't rate the competition very highly, and I understand that. You feel me? I see why they would say that, But yeah, I know we're stretching the main event a little bit, but like it's a pretty compelling fight for the reason that it was indeed made. At least it'll be interesting. You feel me? Want to give a shout out to the Sigma in charge. Sorry I missed your comment, bro. Really like love having you here, bro. Thank you so much for joining us. We haven't done a contender series yet. We were going through the pay-per-views today, but we can maybe slide by through there when we're done. But yeah, man, to finish off the main event, yeah, man, like we'll see what Roundtree has for him. Obviously, I don't know if betting odds are out already, but I think Alex might be like, I'm not going to disrespect Khalil, but I think he might be like a minus like 250 favorite, something like that. I think he will indeed be the favorite. If you go down to the Topology picks, I'm pretty sure 91.
If he's going to do, he's going to knock him out. That's what they said.
Yo, and like that's what I'm saying, man. Like that's crazy. You feel me? Like disrespect him. Like anything can happen in a fight, y'all. Like you feel me? And even like minus 450, Alex Pickham just put us in the chat. Really appreciate that. Almost minus 500 for the 2 division champion. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, for real. And for those that are betting on the Brady versus Burns card, the boy Sigma just said the odds are still good. So definitely go check out those parlays if y'all can get some good bets on that card as well. But yeah, y'all, like, we'll see what Roundtree has for him. It's gonna be an entertaining fight, to say the least, most definitely. Any closing thoughts from you on the main event before we move on to this co-main and like the prelim?
It just sucks that Roundtree's first fight, he's facing like the worst possible matchup for him. It's like just Alex is, you're not going to be like, Roundtree has that Muay Thai stance, and you're just not going to be able to land those leg kicks. Alex, he's bringing all these new things to the UFC. Like, he's the one who started these calf kicks. No one was doing those low calf kicks before him. And then with these check kicks, he's checking leg kicks like with his other leg, and he's just doing all this, and it's like real. It's not like he landed it once. Like, that's his actual style now. It's going to be really hard. It's going to have to catch Alex, and Alex just going to walk him down. He does this. He walked down Jamal Hill. You remember, Roundtree was supposed to fight Jamal Hill, and a lot of people had Jamal Hill winning that even after getting knocked out. He made really easy work of Jamal Hill. I don't know if it was an off night or what. I don't like. It's hard to like even see how Roundtree could win. My MMA gym, Alex is like, to share MMA and us are coexisting. So we're close gyms, and everyone's a big Alex fan over there. So I'm gonna ask them on Tuesday what they think, but for sure everyone's just gonna be like, oh, Sharma. Like, as these dudes love Alex, and our coach talks about Alex consistently. Like, he came and trained at our gym. He's the real deal. Like, you see it in person, it's crazy. So yeah, that fight's gonna be crazy. Hey, and like you said, we got our Mike Tyson of the sport for now. We got our knockout machine. It's good to have one of those.
Yeah, for real.
It feels a little lackluster when you don't have like people that fill in all those niches at the top.
I agree. And the last thing I will say, I think because he's already a superstar now. He has like 5 million followers on Instagram or some shit like that. Like, I know that, some people might not use IG because they don't like, to be photogenic and stuff like that. But that's a lot of like, it's 5 million people who know who he is, when they follow him every day. And the last thing I will say about him, I really respect him a lot, like for his story and stuff like that. Like, fuck fighting, you feel me? Like, he was, like being a mechanic, while like, kind of, he said he was low-key an alcoholic at one point. And he had his kids really young, more than likely, because they look like they're about 15 or something like that at least. And like, Alex is 37. So, he had his kids in his early 20s, you feel me? He had to work a job, then fight, train, like, like that was like a crazy story, man. Like, to be able to really climb up, like, like never give up on a dream if you have one, you feel me? And like, I know life can be hard, but like, go with the roller coaster. You never know where like it can go. Like, this dude had no idea when he joined the UFC what was really about to happen. Well, he's a future Hall of Famer now. He came in at 34 years old, and he's a future Hall of Famer now in 3 years. Like, that's just like, it's like Michael Bisping, like fucking 26 fights, bro, to get to a title shot, man. Like, Aljamain Sterling took Aljo forever, bro. And then like look what happened, you feel me? Like, with the knee and stuff like that. So it's like, to see the journey he's had and then it go crazy like that. And like, especially being tied to Israel, and I think when they're done fighting, they're gonna be really good friends. I do believe that. Like, I think they're gonna have like a lot of respect for each other. Alex already does. I mean, I think I saw a picture of them like, together. Like, it was recently like they were doing something. Like, he was teaching them something or whatever. And like you've seen them in like the cage, like post fight, they'll like chop it up, backstage and stuff like that, whatever. And yeah, and like the last thing I was saying, if he had English, like only just to be able to like do like a Good Morning America interview, like after like a pay-per-view and stuff like that, because I do think he could become that level of martial artist, that level of star, especially with his cachet, his personality, his tattoos. He's a really imposing figure. He's listed at 6'4". I think he's like really 6'6", because when he was looking down at Israel, like sometimes during the face-offs and stuff. So I think he's really about 6'5.5", something like that. And for a fighter, that's, for a dude, that's really tall, obviously, for a fighter, and he's really long. So he's like a real like specimen type of figure, and to have his story is just like crazy. And he's honestly a nice guy. I've seen him like, when he fixed that dude's car on like the side of the road. He didn't have to do that. You feel me? He probably did that for free because he knew he could do it. He knew he had the skill, the training and stuff. So it's cool to see how far he's come. Regardless if you're a fan of him or not, I always say on this channel and in general, you gotta just witness the history in terms of the sport. I get it. A fighter can win that you might not want to, but all we can do is just witness the history. And like, this guy's making a lot of it right now. You feel me? And he's gonna be like a legend. Like, he already is, but like 5 years, 10 years from now, he'll be seen as like something totally different. And like, before we get off 307, obviously we have the bantamweight title fight. The bantamweight. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, and I do want to agree with what Gonzalo Toro said. Obviously, with Roundtree as well. How he lost. I think it was the Johnny Walker loss because he got elbowed in the clinch, and then like he went to Thailand. And then like, yeah, he left his family, left the children, went to a foreign country, started training, like, like all of that. You feel me? Like, like seriously. So it is crazy. Like to think about that, you feel me? How both these guys have crazy stories and like, they're about to face off like this, And yeah, for the ladies, Pena versus Pennington. I'm excited for the press conference. Most definitely. I am intrigued to see how Juliana comes at her. I really like her trash talk. I thought it was funny when she told Amanda you can attract flies to shit. You feel me? So I thought that was pretty funny. You feel me? So like, yeah, I think she's obviously she looks pretty good too. But yeah, how do you feel about the co-main in Utah?
It's I picked Pennington against Buena Silva, and it was just like I knew she won that fight, but it was so unimpressive. It was just like it didn't feel like a championship fight. And knowing Juliana, she's been there, she's held the belt. Now she's gonna come back for it. She's fought the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this one is, it's. I'm not trying to get my early prediction, but I'm just not too excited for it after Pennington's last fight. It was just not a good fight, in my opinion. It was a very boring fight on both sides. There was a lot of hype for Buena Silva before the fight even came into it. I think she's getting better now. I think they were hyping her up a little too early. But I'm not too excited for this one. I think, Juliana should make this one easy, get her belt back.
Yeah, man. Like, seriously, like, I really like Pena. I know a lot of people don't like her personality and her trash talk and stuff like that. I always tell people, like, man, like, how would you feel if you literally accomplished your dream that everyone thought you would never do? Told you to your face you would never do, Like at the UFC 269 press conference, Amanda told her, you're never going to be a champion. And what happened 2 fucking nights later? Like, that type of stuff, like, I do like that. Like, you can't, like, any person hating on that, they're not chasing greatness in their lives, you feel me? And, like, that's what I always say, like, is you would never want anyone to hate on you when, like, you just accomplished your life's dream. It's like when Jamal Hill was going into that Glover Teixeira fight, everyone just kept saying over and over, if Glover Teixeira gets one takedown, it's over. Everyone keeps saying that over and over, bro. And then like when they're in the 5th round and Glover got the takedown and Jamal Hill has slipped from the bottom and got on top like that and just showed he's a well-rounded martial artist like that, that's when dudes was like, okay. And like, it was cool to see the narrative change and people, he even addressed it in his post-fight. He said, those that said I could, that I had one round to get it done. What the fuck you got to say now? Like, you got to realize when people like, when they doubt you like that, it's just like, it sucks, man. And like, and I do agree with Lane. I thought that, like, that cut pissed me off. You feel me? I didn't think because of a cut, like they should have stopped it. Like,
it was bad. It was bad. It was about as thick as my eyebrow, above my eyebrow. That was a big cut. I don't like it. I wasn't happy with it, and you don't want to fight to end that way. But at the same time, that's why doctors are there. It's just the regulation. Once that cut gets too big, I mean, yeah, she gets punched one more time, you might see her skull. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, I get it.
and like flesh at that point, and obviously anyone's gonna attack that. You open that cut, you could clearly land there again. It sucks it ended that way, but it had to.
No, of course. And like, it's always fighter safety first. And like, she has to have a face, and like, seriously. And like, for real, bro. And like, I feel you, Lane. I'm so sorry that happened to you that night. Like, that was crazy. Like, especially like, we'll see what Macy Chasson does now that he's rising up the ranks. Now that he's rising up the ranks. But yeah, man, 307 is a pretty decent card for sure. I mean, it's actually, if you dig into it, it's pretty stacked. You got Joaquin Buckley fighting Wonder Boy on this card. It's some pretty decent fights on it for sure. I am.
Aldo,
Oh yeah, and the Mobster Evil Love versus Aljamain Sterling,
this is a good
100%.
fight. I'm gonna
Yeah,
see
the
this.
pay-per-view itself is really, really good. I do want to see Kevin Holland versus Roman Delite. He's in Salt Lake City too, so it's a lot of big name. It will indeed feel like a pay-per-view. On the night of, it's a lot of big fights, a lot of big names, stuff like that. It's just when the main event happens, people are gonna be like, But if it's a crazy main event, like if it's like an upset main event, 307 could be a classic. You never know. You feel me? And Utah's had hella classics. Like no one thought Gaethje could knock out Poirier like that after their first fight, and like that was crazy. And then what happened with Leon, knocking out Usman. So I think it's a pretty good card for sure. If I had to give my favorite fight on it that I do want to see the most, probably I am intrigued about Mobster Evil versus Aljamain Sterling. They've been going back and forth on social media a lot. Aljamain saying I'm gonna make you my bitch and stuff like that. And then Mobster Evil even did this creepy video, or he was saying it's Aljamain's birthday, he lit him a birthday cake and he said make a wish and he blew it for him. And he was like, I'm coming for you and stuff like that. So I do think that they're gonna try to kill each other in that fight. You feel me? And yeah. And also Lane having a good point with the Drew Dober cut. I remember, when he fought Gene Silva. Indeed, I do agree. They did let Dober continue. I think I think it might have been a doctor stoppage. Yeah. Like in the third round or something like that. And that was just really, really unfortunate. You feel me? And Dober, we know how durable he is. You feel me? So and that fight was pretty crazy. And shout out to Gene Silva talking about the fighting nerds. Most definitely. And we move on to our last card of the night. I want to thank y'all again for joining us. Really do appreciate y'all coming. Pick 'em MMA, Lane, Anakin, Sigma, Gonzalo. Thank y'all so much for joining us, for real, for real. Especially on short notice like that. Didn't get to promote this stream that much. But we moved to our last pay-per-view preview of the evening. Yeah, man, UFC 308, they're going back to Abu Dhabi. This is probably my favorite main event of the year, as well as many other people. I think it's just a pretty crazy fight. I'm not gonna lie, you feel me? We see how Gonzalo's feeling in the chat already. And yeah, man, I think this is a pretty crazy fight for a main event. On paper, I think even 30 years from now, 30, 40 years from now, it'll be hailed as one of the greatest featherweight title fights of all time. Even before it's happening right in front of us right now, before the fight and stuff like that. But yeah, how do you feel about it, bro?
First off, we got Fight Realm in the building. What's up, Fight Realm?
What's
How
up,
you doing?
Chris? What's up, bro? Thank you for joining us, bro. I always love talking to you, boy. Most definitely.
Facts. But like I said when we first turned the live on, this is my card of the year. I'm waiting for this. Abu Dhabi's are always banger cards, man. That's where the money's at. So they got to bring a banger to the card. But I'm super excited for this because there's a lot of Ilya fans, a lot of Max fans, and they're talking. And this fight's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be amazing, whatever the outcome is. But everyone was saying Justin's going to beat the shit out of Max, and Max beat the shit out of Justin. And I think Justin and Ilya, they're two sides of this, two different sides of the same coin. It's just Ilya is a little more accurate, but Justin hits harder more often. And if Max could survive 5 rounds with him, I don't think Max is gonna knock out Ilya, right? Max, he got 2 knockouts before his last. Well, the Justin fight was a knockout. With 10 seconds, spare that. And then he knocked out the Korean Zombie. I don't know if he's going to knock out Ilya. Ilya hasn't shown that he's, has a bad chin or anything. I think this one, it's hard, right? Do you think it's going to go 5 rounds? We saw Ilya go 5 rounds with Josh Emmett.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, it can happen. There was a 10-8 round in there where Ilya was beating him up. But Max is good. Max is in and out. Max can do exactly what Volk was supposed to do until he got caught. I think Volk wasn't ready for that fight. But that in and out, throw 2 punches, and Max throwing them spinning back kicks, that was insane last fight. Those things are going to work for him. he has to stay away from the cage, and Max does. Max doesn't really, fight. He fights in the center of the octagon. That's his whole style. If he gets caught on the cage, that fight is gonna end within 10 seconds. Ilya throws the best combos in the UFC.
Damn.
Ilya throws the best combos in the UFC. I know Max has only been dropped to a knee one time in his career, but it's the UFC. We're all human, right? Max is human at the end of the day. He gets caught on this chin, he could get put out. But I don't think he's gonna be on the cage. I know I'm giving a whole breakdown here. I'm fucking.
No, you're good, man. Continue. I like it, bro.
But yeah, let me know what you're thinking about this fight, because I was about to start moving on to other fights we got too.
Oh no, you're straight, man. That's a great breakdown, most definitely. My opinion on it, man, I just think it could be a passing of his torch. I mean, technically it was in Topuria's last fight, but I mean, this dude could really just move on, take the featherweight division to a new chapter. You feel me? We really don't know what's gonna happen in this fight. I don't think anyone really knows what's gonna happen. Everyone could be so sure that Topuria is gonna knock him out until they're in the fourth round and Max is up on points and he's still dancing around and stuff like that. You feel me? It's gonna be hard to see anyone outbox him. He looks so good against Justin Gaethje. You feel me?
Insane.
He looked great with the spinning kicks, everything. It's really he's fully put together. I will say he's gonna have to fluctuate his weight, obviously, but he's had some months in between the fights. Featherweight is his division. Most definitely. I do think he'll be able to cut the weight very smoothly. That's his home at the end of the day. And yeah, man, I really think for this matchup, it's probably, in my opinion, one of the most competitive on paper main event this year. We've never seen Max did get dropped versus Justin. So of course the fight before his, another title shot for Max, he gets dropped when it's never happened before. And now, I will say, we have seen Max struggle with shorter opponents in the past. You feel me? Of course, that's only Alexander Volkanovski, though. Which even Topuria struggled with Volkanovski in the first round. Volkanovski outstruck him in the first round before he got knocked out in the second round. Even Lane in the chat has already given their pick. You go with Max, and I feel why you'd say that, Lane. Most definitely. Even Anakin's giving his pick too. He said Topuria by KO, flush knockout. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know if y'all saw that interview he did with MMA Junkie and all that, but he said if Max tries to point to the center, he's gonna knock him out in the first 5 seconds of the fight. You start to exchange the punches. He's gonna knock him out. It's just. It will be that when my jaw would hit the floor, bro. If
he does that, then it's undeniable. Then he's allowed to talk the way he does. I just don't like that he knocked out a vulnerable Volkanovski, and he was saying if he wanted to fight at 155 for the belt, he could have. If he wanted to do, and he was talking so much shit, and it was annoying me because yes, he called Volk, but Volk was compromised. That he wasn't 100%. Man, he just came off that stupid fight he took off that a few months prior. I don't know. He just talks. The thing with Ilya, he just talks so much, man. And it's what are you gonna do? Yeah, you can't stop him. He's the champion of the world right now. But man, that dude talks, saying he could fight at 155 after just winning his belt. It's all right, whatever, man. And if he beats Max, I mean. There's a lot of work. I think with the whole moving up divisions, everyone wants to move up a division. I don't like it anymore. It's kind of getting overplayed out. I still like to see the best versus the best. But in a division like featherweight, I think featherweight has the most contenders. Featherweight and bantamweight has the most contenders ready for a title fight coming up. So I don't like the idea of moving up. If you're going to move up, let's get an interim belt in there right away because there's too many options at featherweight and bantamweight.
I agree. And I think, we're going to really see his potential. He's only 27 years old. I mean, he's the youngest champion by a mile right now. He's 2 years younger than Sean O'Malley. I think he just turned 26 not too long ago. So, man, he's not even in his prime yet, bro. I can see him, seriously, I could see him retiring young, you feel me? Literally putting the belt down at 30 and like, you know, because he'll be so rich and undefeated and like a superstar and like be a legend at that point, you know, with 3 years holding the title. We're gonna see what happens. Obviously, Jose Aldo is still considered the greatest featherweight of all time. He defended the UFC title 7 times. Jose Aldo did. So we're gonna see what happens, bro. Like, it is really intriguing. We're gonna see how good of a fighter Topuria really is in that fight. I really feel that way. I mean, we did last time too, but I mean, at the same time, I feel what you say. You got, you know, Volkanovski. He came back 4 months after getting head kick KO'd, and it's just like, it was like, that's really sad, man, to really see, honestly. And Gonzalo it doesn't really like Topuria. He says narcissism at its finest, but superior to Holloway. It pains me to say. Nah, like, continue. What were you gonna say?
No, I just said we'll see. That's it.
Like, I think, you know, when you're training, man, bro, like it's different when you know you got skills, like, because you gotta be that confident too. When you're fighting the best people across the planet, like, one thing about being a fighter, before we close out the podcast soon, like, I always tell people, like, man, that's such a crazy job, man. Like, when you sign up to be a fighter, you are signing up to face any man from across the planet. They can come from anywhere. And like, some of these dudes are really fucking killers that had nothing growing up as children. All they had, okay, if I have to dominate another man to get money, then so be it, you know. And then like they fall in love with it. Versus some people just fight just to have fun. And like some people don't understand how hard of a living, like, that's a hard ass job, man. All these new styles, like having to break an opponent down fight after fight, you know, like getting their distance and their timing and taking damage, man. Not everyone's cool with taking damage, bro. So I do think it's gonna be a crazy fight. I think he respects Holloway. You know, he says he's done a lot of good things for the sport. He just thinks that he's better, and he has to feel that way, you know. I think it's just gonna be really funny. I always smile when I watch his interviews because he's just really funny, you know, because he knows what he's saying. Like, you know, he knows that he's sounding real cocky when he says it. But obviously, there's too many fights on this card just to discuss the main event. Do want to give love to the boy Fight Round, giving some good points in the chat. I think you have to be confident in yourself to be a fighter, but Ilya has taken it to another level, in my opinion. I feel like you would say that. You know, there is a level of humility in martial arts as well. So it's always good to be a certain level of humble. You know, one of the 48 laws of power is after you win, you stop. There's no gloating. There's no any of that. You know, once you do that, you open the door to receive karma, bad karma, you know, because you weren't humble in your win and things of that nature. So,
and tell me one fighter who's never got that karma for getting too cocky, you know. He never got cocky. He retired before he could ever get cocky, you know.
For real. And like, that's another thing too. And also, this goes with John Jones as well. People on like, and I definitely feel what Chris is saying. Fight Round has a tattoo.
He has a tattoo of himself. But like, come on, everyone, like, we're all in here agreeing. Like, he's taking it too far with this ego. You have to, like, every fighter. So Max and him both go into the fight. I'm better than this guy. But at the end of the day, one of these dudes is better than each other. They're gonna find out, but it's like,
right.
It's just so much. It's like, yeah, I respect you, but I'm gonna talk all this shit about you because I'm better than you. It's like, all right, man, like, right. I get it. Is your whole career gonna be this now? You're just better than everyone. Like, you know, have some respect. You know, martial arts, it's something that makes you think, like, most gyms would teach you, like, early on when you first start fighting, to respect, like, your opponents, you know what I mean? But a lot of these dudes are just disrespectful to each other nowadays. And then it's like, oh, I respect you, I'm trying to sell. I don't know. I don't believe that. I think that's coming from the heart when these dudes talk shit sometimes. Like,
especially with Conor.
Yeah, like, man, some of these
he really felt that shit when he said that shit. Yeah, bro.
Some of these dudes talk so much shit now.
Because some dudes be faking it. Conor really meant every single motherfucking word. Like, when he won that double champ status and he said, I don't want to apologize to fucking nobody. You feel me? And after that,
he'll kill him in his own language.
Like, for real. And like, that's the thing, you feel me? Like, I see why you say that, though. I think Topuria, we're gonna see, like, he's gonna be really compelling because people are gonna want to see him lose and or see him win, you know, because he's a good fighter and stuff. And I didn't even mention I didn't finish the point when I mentioned John Jones. I think, the confidence of a man who has never lost is really, really, really hard to beat. Imagine how John Jones feels like having done any legend, and we're going to talk about this on Wednesday, you feel me? Any legend, any favorite fighter these dudes have, John has beaten them. You like Glover Teixeira, he lost. You like Lyoto Machida, he got choked out. You like Shogun Rua, he got destroyed. You like Rampage Jackson, he got destroyed. You like Rashad Evans, he got destroyed. You feel me?
DC.
It's like all these dudes, like DC, even like Daniel Cormier.
If Jones never fought DC, DC would have been one of the greatest fighters of all time on people's list if he never fought John Jones.
Like, for real. And it's just stuff like that, you feel me? Like, Glover Teixeira won the belt at 42. John beat him when he was 34. He had already scratched him off the list, you feel me? So it's not like it's just that, like, to be 23 and be the king of a division, like, yo, like, and then obviously John's not nowhere near fighting on this card, nothing like that. I'm just saying, like, with the undefeated fight, like with the legends, bruh. Oh yeah, and that too. And again, we're gonna talk about this on Wednesday, but because people be saying Dana be glazing him, you gotta realize, man, like, he's right. Anytime Dana's given him so many tests, John has walked out every single time, even with the Cyril Gane shit. Everyone swore, how's he gonna look at heavyweight? He's gonna be too slow. He's on a 3-year layoff. Like, no, like, and I get it, even because he like they were saying this the Gane shit before the fight, because he got taken down by Ngannou or whatever. But Cyril Gane almost beat Ngannou. He was still winning that fight when he got taken down. He went for that heel hook, and then Francis got top control, you feel me? He could have won that fight if that doesn't happen. It's just the fact that he got taken down by Ngannou, you feel me? The best pound for pound fighter, I'm like, pound for pound and GOAT are like different. I won't say, because obviously, I mean, that's a discussion too. I mean, again, we're gonna get on
like 5 or 6. I mean, if we're talking pound for pound in the world, he can't just stay pound for pound forever. Well, these dudes, if Alex Pereira won 5 fights in a row next year, he's pound for pound, like that passes what John Jones's past has done for him. It's the 2024. What month are we in? We're in August. It's the August 2024 pound for pound list. It's not the 2029 pound for pound list. Like, John Jones's accomplishments like put him there, but as dudes start to win, they pass you. John Jones, if he wins, if he flatline, if he elbows Stipe in the face and knocks him out, yes, you could pass him again. You could be number 1 pound for pound. Right now, Islam and Pereira are both pound for pound past John Jones right now in 2024, and there's no debate. John Jones is just like protecting, and it's like his baby, right? Like that's his baby, the UFC right there. Like, and it's funny because like that's how he treats it, but it's true. Like, that's his prized possession. John Jones is still an active fighter, even though he's coming off an injury.
Thank you, man. Like,
that's still his active fighter. That's his crown possession. Obviously, if Conor McGregor, I think he treats Conor more of a retired fighter at this point, because no one.
But like John, that's Dana's Corvette.
Yeah, man.
Like, that's his Lamborghini in the garage. That shit still runs. That's like a 1984 Mercedes Benz.
There's all these nice cars now, and they drive super fast, but it's nothing like that,
Like, for real, and he's made him so much money too. You feel me? That's why he defends John so much. But it's not really about the pound for pound thing. It's more so like it's more so about what have you done for me lately? That's what it's about in MMA. You feel me? Like, 'cause I mean, John, he was fighting so much, bro. Like, man, when you're fighting so much, man, like, you got when you get burnt out fighting all these dudes, even the fights he was burnt out, and I get the Dominic Reyes shit, like. That shit was, man, like, I thought Reyes won that shit that night. I'm not gonna act like I didn't. You feel me? If you were with me on the couch at UFC 247, I thought John lost. You feel me? I did. I thought Dominic Reyes took it 3-2, but there are some people that still think John won that fair and square. And I don't know, bro. We're talking about John. He's not even on his card.
We'll get let's leave the conversation.
But no, like, yeah. Last thing I'm saying about that, Doug's, I don't want no one. I'm always subjective. You feel me? It's with the John thing, bro. I think just like. It's so many new fans that have came in, like all that old shit when he was skinny and all that. You feel me? Like, that's like an urban legend to certain fans. They don't like they're not gonna go on Fight Pass and like see all like those dominant, like he's like one of the greatest, like literally, bro. He was that build before anybody else was. He was already 6'4" with an 84.5-inch reach. Like he still had, like, I know a fucking Robelis to Spain has an 87-inch reach. Like he just overtook it for like the longest reach. You feel me? And John, like, it's just, yeah, man, to have beaten like all these dudes, like, you know, like, it's just like, for real, bro. I really think it's about what have you done for me lately. A lot of people have not seen him fight like that. They haven't, like, you know, he started slowing down around 230. He fought at 239, and, you know, he beat Thiago Santos, and he fought at 247, and then he moved up in weight. It was a 3-year absence, you feel me? And everyone knew what he was doing. It's not like he, you know, he was out. Like, Conor be partying all the time. You see Conor out and about all the time, shooting movies, like all that. I think John, like, and when he came back, what happened? He picked up where he left off. He's literally the current heavyweight champion. And I get it. Like, obviously, there's a new dude that has K-Man. That new dude being Tom fucking Aspinall. You feel me? I do think that is one of the biggest fights in UFC history. If it happens 100, because the GOAT will have his biggest threat he's ever had in his entire career when he's at his most vulnerable at his oldest age. You feel me? And can he still go in there and get it done? Because, like I always say, bro, it's all fun and games until you see your favorite fighter get knocked out live on camera. You feel me? And, like, if Aspinall were to piece up John up against the cage and, like, the refs start to get, like, it's that, like, I wouldn't, like, that'd be crazy. You feel me?
And if John Jones took Tom Aspinall to the second round and started dismantling him and beat him, then it was like, oh, Aspinall wasn't really that. All those people who are just on him so heavy on X and Twitter, whatever you see it on, all those people are just going to disappear saying that shit. It's not going to be, oh, he had an off night. No, it's just going to be like, damn, John. Now John needs to fight Alex. Like,
and that's my last
always going to be another name. There will always be another name.
That's the point I was going to say. Like, imagine his perspective, man. Since he was 23, it's just been the next guy year after year after year after
Listen,
year.
There's only one fight he ever missed in his whole career. And
like, for real.
It was the Rumble fight.
Like, oh, okay. Now, like, they got this new dude from England. You feel me? Okay, now I got to fight this guy. They want me to fight him so bad, how they wanted me to fight all these other dudes, and like,
somebody like Gelton Almeida or something. It's always someone next, you know.
And I'm not saying that, like, people aren't right to say he has to fight. I just think that he's being railroaded because, like, you know, because he gets the reputation for being the GOAT, but the GOAT don't fight like that. You feel me? So it's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot for that bear to come out of that cave nowadays. But when he's here. Everyone's watching, you feel me? And it's like, it's just that, like, that's why he feels the way he does about Tom Aspinall, you feel me? Because, like, he's just supposed to be, like, everyone's supposed to be the guy that's going to beat me. Fucking everyone, you feel me? And, like, and that's why I'm saying John still has supreme confidence. He doesn't think a single man can beat him. You feel me? And I get it, man. Not a lot of people got to see the skinny John, bro. Like, the skinny John, it was like a fucking, like, destroyer, bro. Like, he murdered Gustafsson in the second fight, bro. Like, come on, man. But, like, yeah. I mean, yeah, like, you know, and, like, and then, like, I get it, you feel me? And, like, that was a whole different conversation. We're still going to talk about that on Wednesday. Just go way harder on that. But yeah, for 308, I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Whitaker versus Chimaev. Obviously, this fight's gonna be pretty crazy. I'm super excited for it. We just saw, like, I mean, like, okay, like, yo, like, we can talk about this on Wednesday, like, for sure. Because I'm telling you, man, like, it's just for you to face in lane. I'm like, yo, I love conversations like this. Like, I love going back and forth. You feel me? So, please feel free, like, to continue to give your points, yo. Like, last thing I'll say about this week, because I do gotta hurry and like get out of here in a second. But I was gonna say, like, man, like, it's like for John, man, like, he's faced every style. It's a striker, he's murdered him. It's a wrestler, he's murdered him. It's jiu-jitsu, he's murdered him. So it's like, bro, like, don't get me wrong. Does he think in the back of his mind, Actually, I'm not even gonna say that because I don't think he thinks this motherfucker can beat him. I don't think, knowing John Jones, knowing how he speaks and doing cocaine during a fight week. Bruh, like, I just don't think he's scared of him. It just takes a lot of
He was gonna
money.
fight Francis Ngannou. That's the thing.
And that's the thing. And I think he
willing
was
to do
gonna
that,
fight him, man. Like, he was gonna fight him. It just was terrible timing. It was terrible time. Like, the moment John came, like, Francis,
people blame John for coming as Francis left, but people don't realize once Francis left, they needed a heavyweight champion. John was waiting for Francis. Francis was in negotiation. We don't know the true story, but I'm not right, and whoever thinks that John ducked Francis isn't right. We don't know the truth, but it could be either of those reasons. It could have been that as soon as Francis left, they brought in John because John was waiting for Francis, or John could have been ducking Francis if that's what everyone wants to think. It's whatever people want to think. It's all hypotheticals, just like John and Thomas are hypothetical. It's not it's not a booked fight. No one would care about Aspinall if he didn't have the fake championship. The only reason he has that is because John got injured. Why should John's fight that he already scheduled for be thrown to the side? You signed a contract. It didn't get ripped up. In the contract, definitely in those contracts, if they have injuries, they always get rebooked. Look right here. Look right here on our screen what we got here. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. That was a booked fight, but Khamzat couldn't fight. So what do? They rebook it when he's healthy.
Right.
It's simple as that. So I mean,
and I get it, bro. Like, and thank you for joining, Lane. I love, having like these conversations and stuff like that. You feel me? And and I get it. I was just like the hottest dude right now. You feel me? But that's what I say with John, bro. Like, there's literally not a dude he didn't fight. You feel me? And don't get me wrong, man. I think like if he drowns Tom Aspinall, bro, I bet you he don't get full credit. Like, I bet you he don't get full credit if he beats him. You feel me?
I mean, Gon was just as hot as Tom was. I mean, people were high on Gon. People were high on Gon. Now that Gon lost to John, he's the shittiest heavyweight in the division. He got too many title shots, blah, blah, blah. There was a reason Gon got to fight Ngannou. Right. There was a reason he was the one who they picked for John Jones. So.
For sure. Like, I'm not.
Hey, the interim's a fake belt. The interim is a fake belt. We all know that.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, bro, like, okay. We got to sound 308 because this is really good for Wednesday. I'm serious. Like, it's like there's a lot.
We'll be back.
There's a lot I'm going to fucking say. I'm serious, bro. But thank you for joining, Lane. I really thank you so much for giving us this conversation, bro, for real. But yeah, like Whittaker versus Chimaev, like, obviously we saw Israel lose at 305. So, I think this fight is damn near a title eliminator. It is 5 rounds indeed. So I am intrigued to see how it plays out over the course of the 5 rounds. My bad, very good. But nah, man, like, that's probably the fight I want to see the most on the card is Whittaker versus Chimaev. I'm just want to see like how that first round plays out. A lot of people think think Robert isn't gonna make it out the first round. Thank you so much for joining, Lane. God bless you, and please have a great night wherever you're about to do. Just stay safe, and always love talking to you. And it's always all love, most definitely. And you have a nice night, Lane, for sure. And yeah, man. So Robert Whittaker, obviously, like, this is gonna be a pretty intense fight. I think Robert, because I'm watching his podcast and stuff like that, like, he knows what's about to happen. Like, he's having like a monstrous training camp. And that's why he did such a quick turnaround too, because he knows he's in great shape right now. He's coming off a great victory, and he thinks he can beat that dude 100%. And I'm honestly intrigued to see how it goes. But like, how do you feel about it? Like, you think Khamzat's going to get the title shot finally? Or like, what do you think?
Like we talked about this at the Abu Dhabi card when it was coming up. It's weird. There's like, this is at middleweight, and there's a lot of there's options at middleweight now. Like Sean, Imavov, Rob. Like, if Rob wins, but does Khamzat get it if he wins? This will be his only middleweight win. He didn't even get to the top of the welterweight division. So like we always were expecting Hamzat to get that title fight, but he's never gotten to the top of the division. If he held the welterweight championship, okay, one win at middleweight will get you there. But you've seen it with Aljo. He already won at featherweight, and he's still working his way up. So I don't think this fight is enough for Hamzat to get a title shot. Robert depends how he wins. If it just depends. There's a lot at middleweight. I don't know if this is really a number one contender shot for either of them, but Rob is more convincing because he's been there. He's been at the top of a division before. So if anyone can get it, it's him. I don't think Hamzat just gets him there. I think Hamzat still needs one more fight after this. The Kamaru Usman fight, it's like Usman wasn't even a middleweight at the time. Right. So that's my opinion on it. I'm super excited for the fight, though. We already gave our whole breakdown on the fight last time.
Literally.
I'm super excited. Will Hamzat shoot on him? How will Rob defend the takedown? That's the breakdown pretty much,
And yeah, I think in the first, not even to spoil it, because we broke the fight down already when it was originally scheduled. I still have the former champion, Robert Whittaker, in this matchup. I'm not just doing that off the Hamzat has to prove more to me. Like it's not nothing like that. I think with his anti-wrestling and his stand-up and his gas tank and just his mental toughness, I think he'll be prepared for 100% wherever the fight goes. He knows he might get taken down, drug against the cage, stuff like that, get his back taken maybe, and he will stay calm. I trust him to go the full 5 rounds as well. And Robert is the better striker. It's all about if he can withstand like that first round, that fresh Hamzat coming out of the corner. And we never know what approach Hamzat could take this time around. He could come out a little more calculated with the stand-up approach, or I do think he will try to get the fight to the ground extremely early, really try to get Robert tired really fast, and try to impose his game plan, and really just use his physical strength just to right. My bad. I was reading this tweet. And yeah, that's the thing. I do think it is going to be a really electric fight. It's going to be the fight I'm looking forward to the most. And it's going to be crazy knowing we have the main event after this. It's kind of like to me, it's like 2 title fights. Damn near. It's kind of what it feels like, with Robert Whittaker and like a Chimaev at the top like that.
This 3 cards in a row. It's going to feel that way. 306,
for real.
7, and 8.
Like it literally should have been like its own main event, but instead, it's going to be a co-main, and it's 5 rounds. It's on a pay-per-view where it should have been in the first place, in my opinion. And moving on, of course, as we just were discussing, Cyril Gahn versus Volkov. This is the rematch, of course. We saw them fight, I think, 3 years ago in the Apex when Volkov really, he shined. I'm not Volkov. Gahn shined in this matchup against the taller, linky striker Volkov. But Volkov has looked absolutely amazing as of late. I think that loss to Tom Aspinall really changed him and getting taken down and submitted like that. I really think that really did change his mindset. And you too, Lane, have a great night. And please, have a great sleep as well whenever you get to sleep, bro. Most definitely. And yeah, I think this fight is going to be pretty insane. A little bit more than the first fight. I think they're going to come out with different approaches, really striking heavy like the first fight. And it's cool. I'm definitely intrigued to see it. We'll see if it's a title eliminator. It more than likely is, seeing what happened with Curtis Blades in the last fight. And I think Volkov's ranked number 3 and Gahn's ranked number 2. So having them fight in the feature bout, this probably is a title eliminator. But how do you feel about it?
Should be really good. 2 of the top heavyweights. They're 2 of the last guys who honestly have that that title run in them. If anyone's going to be able to challenge for a title skill wise, it's going to be one of these 2 dudes. We saw Blades lost. So Blades is out. It's Tom, Cyril, and Volkov. I can't think of anyone else. Almeida got exposed. Derek Lewis just isn't there. Rose, Jairzinho, maybe if he puts together 2 more wins. Those are the only names I could think of. So this fight, it is pretty important for the future of the heavyweight division.
Right.
I'm interested. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be cool to see how it plays out. At least I want to see if Volkov can get it back. Like get that win back. You feel me? But we can move on to the next one. Most definitely. Like yeah, bro. Even then, like with this one, this is gonna be our last big talking point of the day. Magomed Ankalaev is fighting Alexander Rakic. Laurel Murphy versus Daniga is crazy. We can actually talk about that too in a second. I do want to give a little sprinkle on that. But this matchup caused a lot of controversy online when it was announced. Unfortunately, Magomed Ankalaev is not getting a title shot after winning he's on like a 9-fight unbeaten streak. He just finished Johnny Walker in the first round, knocked him out cold. He was out cold up against the cage. He had Ankalaev looking like Ngannou out there or something. It's cool to see them make the fight. It's cool to see Rakic active again. I think it's a hard fight for Rakic, especially coming off of getting finished by Yuri Prochazka the way that he did. I think Magomed's just a really complete fighter, and I think it's gonna be a hard fight. But how do you feel about it?
I think Rakic doesn't get enough credit for how his first round against Yuri was. People really give Yuri all the credit in that fight, like he dominated. But Rakic was doing very good in stand-up with him in the first round. It's just Yuri just turned into another animal. Just he was getting beat up, Yuri. I don't care. Yuri was getting beat up in that fight, and he just out of nowhere hit Rakic with a few good punches and stumbled him. But I think Rakic has a really good stand-up after that fight. Like I'm confident in if I didn't make a prediction for this, I haven't done all my research. I'd be confident in picking Rakic in this fight. Like he's a good fighter still. He puts together good combinations. He's strong. He's tall. He's long. He has what it takes to win this fight. Obviously, I'm not going to make a prediction yet, but I'm interested in this fight because I also think Ankalaev is very overrated in my opinion. I think it's the Dagestan, that people just give him all this credit for when he hasn't really done as much, and he cried for that title after he went to a draw in a title fight. Like, you guys are going to draws and title fight, man. You're going to draws and title fights and crying for that you won the fight. Do you even deserve the belt at that point? But yeah, like I said, I'm interested in this one.
And yeah, man, and I agree with you. I feel like that's really the biggest point of why Dana is doing every matchmaker meeting. They're like, man, that guy. Every matchmaker meeting, they're gonna hey, we'll give him who we think he should have, basically. And it's really unfortunate that they're doing that to him. And it should be based on meritocracy at the end of the day. And they should just let him have the fight, man. It really is unfortunate. But I want to give a shout out to my friend Craig Crowley. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really good friend of the show as well. Always love having you in the chat too, bro. Thank you so much for joining, Craig. And yeah, man, that was a big part of it too. I think literally in the post-fight speech, he said, I might not fight for this organization again because of the draw. And I was like, man, you just pissed off with that shit, man.
So win the fight,
man.
So win the fight. You were on top control and didn't start one submission the whole time. You were holding him down 4 minutes with 4 minutes left in the round. I don't like that. I'm all for next man up. But when you fight like that, it's how can I defend you? I don't know.
And Dana said in the post fight, you can't get your leg picked apart for 2 rounds and then wrestle for the next 2 and think call yourself a champion, and it was that man, I'm telling you, if Jan Blachowicz was chopping that shit, man, Pereira's gonna
what it's gonna do,
for real, man, seriously, don't think if he doesn't get that takedown, Pereira is obviously the better striker. You feel me? Any just understands the striking is way more than a lot of other people. You feel me? So this is a big fight, obviously. It'd be crazy to see Rakic get it done. It'd be crazy on both ends to see Magomed be one of the that'd be up there with the Tony Ferguson type of you win so many fights and you never got an undisputed title shot. And then yeah, so but outside of that, Card's really good. We could pan out and look at the prelims right quick for sure. Yeah, man. Like I said, Renat Fakhretdinov was on the card. I always love watching him fight. Super, super electric fighter. Ibo Islam is on the card, and he's fighting an undefeated. This guy actually has a lot of hype on the dude he is fighting. And we got Abus Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. That fight is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Pretty wild. I'm not gonna hold you. And we got the former lightweight champion, future Hall of Famer, Rafael dos Anjos, going back up to welterweight.
He'll be in the welterweight and lightweight rankings for the rest of his life.
Like,
I don't know how he's ranked in both, though. It's crazy.
Seriously, he's like, RDA is like 39, man. Like,
he's just getting paychecks at this point. You can't blame him. He still looks good in his fights.
Bro,
yeah, he's good comp, and he's not looking. Like he looks really good against Luke. He looked good against Gamrot. It's Gamrot. You're gonna get wrestled a lot. It's gonna stall out, but he looks pretty good. I'm excited for the Ruzi Boa fight.
Me too. Oh yeah, Nur Sultan, absolutely. Yeah, like that's gonna be crazy. Also, a really interesting matchup with Kennedy and Chekwu going up to the heavyweight division. We know that he struggled in light heavyweight. I guess maybe he thinks his chin problem might be caused from the weight cut. Maybe he is a very big guy, so I think he'll be perfectly fine at the heavyweight division. It's just a matter of him dealing with the power difference that the heavyweights are going to bring. Really honestly intrigued by that. And we're gonna see what happens, man, with Abus Magomedov, man. Like this guy had a lot of hype when he came in. Bruno Ferreira is coming off an outstanding victory over Dustin Stoltzfus. Crazy spinning elbow. Just all of that. Like, man, he's a crazy striker. That fight is gonna be pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, like my boy Nicky said, Renat Fakhretdinov versus Sultan Ruzi Boab. It's gonna be a pretty good fight. This whole card is pretty good. It might be the best Abu Dhabi card they've ever done. And
this is a good ass card. I like these prelims a lot.
Absolutely. And UFC 280 is absolutely legendary. Legendary card. UFC 280 is 1000%. It felt like UFC 300 back then, UFC 280. And yeah, man, like this, we got some movies coming for sure. 306, 307, 308. If I had to say my favorite one on paper after reviewing all of them, no recency bias, it probably is UFC 308 because it's super stacked, literally, like from top to bottom. Like these kind of daytime cards, I'm not gonna lie, I do like to day drink during this.
It's gonna be early in the day. Oh,
most definitely, I do like to day drink. In this kind of card, you can absolutely day drink too. A little beer here and there. Some wine maybe.
I remember I was in my dorm room screaming when Islam knocked out World Class Abu Dhabi card. Oh my god, I forgot it's daytime. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, yeah, this is a 10 a.m. start time, so we're all gonna be setting our alarms for 9:30 o'clock in the morning wherever y'all stay. Some of y'all be waking up at 6 a.m.
Jiu-jitsu practice, and the fights are gonna start. Maybe they'll put the fights on the TV over there.
Nah, that'd be fire. Oh yeah, if that was you, I'd definitely watch it with like the team. That'd be fire.
Yeah, sure. That's dope. I just forgot about that.
That'd be cool for sure. But if I had to get one last thing to say on the card, my favorite fight on it probably, like I said, the co-main event. I'm really intrigued to see Robert Whittaker versus Hamzat. I want to see what type of wrestling defense he's gonna have for the Hamzat. How he'll sprawl when he shoots that first takedown and all of that. So I am honestly really excited to see it play out. But that's me, honestly. I'm excited for the co-main event. And on it, the whole card, but really the co-main event, that's the fight I'm gonna have, some green ready for y'all that know what that means for sure. And yeah, like definitely really excited for this card. And yeah, you have any closing remarks or like you good, Nikki?
That's it, man. Just hope these pay-per-views come soon. We got a good fight night this weekend. I think we have a week off and then we move into 306. I think that's how it's gonna work. So or 306. So yeah, I'm just excited for the future, Talking all these fights makes me feel like it's next weekend, but we got still like 2-3 months until this card.
Yep. And we have a week off. And we have a week off this Saturday. Yeah. So there's no fights. So of course
Saturday, then we got the Sean Brady weekend and then the Sphere.
And then we're back to a pay-per-view season. So y'all know that countdown is going to come out next Sunday. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, guys, want to thank y'all for joining us on episode 27 of MMAHOLICS. Want to thank you again to Lane, Craig Crowley, Pick'em MMA, everyone that joined today, this evening. I really do appreciate y'all. We really do appreciate y'all. Nikki really appreciate y'all. Always love talking to all you guys for sure in the chat. Thank y'all for being respectful, just giving your opinions. You feel me? Of course. And again, always love talking to y'all. And that was really it for me. Like we said earlier, we have a show planned for Wednesday. We'll let y'all know if anything happens. Hopefully nothing doesn't. We're both free on Wednesday. So we're going to try to just, get together a time and go live again. Y'all saw the, that back and forth we had with Lane in the chat. Shout out to Lane about the John Jones. That's one of our topics literally for Wednesday. So if y'all want to have some verbal engagement, please pull up and I'll be prepared. We will be prepared. Nick, you'll be prepared for all of it. And that's it. I want to thank y'all again for joining. Really appreciate y'all. And it's all love. Every time just talking about fighting, you feel me? There's way more things going on in life, deeper than MMA. You feel me? Y'all can just try your best to persevere through any adversity y'all have in life. And like the fights just give us a little bit extra comfort, a little bit extra entertainment here and there. You feel me? And yeah, man, but like, you good, Nikki, or anything else?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Nice little 1 hour, 30-minute stream. Love to clock it in.
Of course.
Feels like when you're at work, you clock in, you're about to get paid. But we do it. We do it because we love it, man. That's it.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Love talking to y'all. And y'all have a nice day. Yeah, nice night whenever you're catching this. And God bless 100%.
Peace.